skies, and on every occasion that you do or don't smile.
Welcome to Sensible Secondhand Classics, a series where we put cars through their paces that are over 15 years old that you can buy for between £1,000 and £5,000. This is a 2004 Alfa Romeo 2-litre Twin Spark Lusso that's owned by Mr. Coleman, rubbish mechanic. You might have seen his previous 166 on the channel. That was a 2002 3-litre V6 Sportronic Lusso. That unfortunately is no longer with us due to problem with the headlamps, I believe, and so he's got this one, and I'm very grateful to be driving it today. So the Alfa Romeo 166, which shared its platform with the Lancia Kappa, was released in this country in 1999. The car was designed actually before the Alfa 156, so it might have looked, I don't know, slightly dated when it came out in some markets in 1998. It replaced the 164 that was a very well regarded car by many people in this country, and didn't really have a replacement at all when it went out of production for the right-hand drive market in 2005. It was made for a little bit longer after that, but the low sales and, you know, Euro 4 emission standards that were coming in sort of killed the car off, really, which is a big shame. I really like these. I remember when I first drove one of these, which was August 2019. I had a fantastic time, and I'm really pleased that Mr. Coleman has replaced his other 166 with another one. This is a post-facelift car. Facelift occurred in 2003, and unfortunately, for our market anyway, it doesn't really do much for Alfa's sales, which were not the best, really, compared with, I don't know, something like a BMW 5 Series, or, you know, something more sensible like an Audi A6 or whatever. But that's not really the point of owning one of these cars. The engine in this car, the 2-litre twin spark, is 155 horsepower. There's also a 2.5-litre V6, which originally I think had 195 horsepower, later 190 after Euro 3 emissions. Then there were the big Lussos, the 3-litre, 220 horsepower standard, and then the 3.2, which came in after the facelift. That's the car Jeremy Clarkson drove on Top Gear in 2004, 240 horsepower. There was also a 2-litre turbo V6 for the Italian market and some other places on the continent. We didn't get that over here. There are also some diesels, but as usual, we don't talk about diesels on this channel. What we do talk about instead is Alfa 166 trim levels. There was the standard, the Lusso TI, the Super Lusso, and then there were Sportronic versions of the Lusso and Lusso TI. Now there was also a right down basic version of 166. I think it was just called the 2-litre twin spark without a model designation, and those had just nothing. I really mean nothing at all. They had manual windows. I'm not sure they had air conditioning. They didn't have this sort of fancy display you'll see down here when we park up and take a look at the cabin of the 166, which is one of the best things about the car, really. And there's also a Turismo edition. Those are quite rare, actually. Right, I think we've covered some of the basics about this car. Let's go over to Mr. Coleman, rubbish mechanics place, take a walk around the car and look at the interior. here we are at Mr. Coleman's premises, and you can see we've got these beautiful wheels that are fitted on the car. The motorcyclist going past also thinks they're very good. You can see it's a Lusso model. Those cloverleaf badges are non-standard, by the way. They just make the car look better, which is brilliant. The facelift cars really are only different in the front. The back is almost the same, I think, if not identical. And one of the things about the back of these is that the rear light lenses can get sort of a bit funny and cracked and stuff. This one on the right hand side here is a brand new one, which I'm very grateful Mr. Coleman has fitted, just for purposes of being filmed today. So I think we can just press the boot button to... No, not today. We'll have to get in another way. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. I'll let Mr. Coleman release the boot for me. Needs a new battery and a key fob, this car. You can see there's plenty of room in here for other things. There's the unit here. I think that should be a disc for the multi-changer as well as for the sat-nav. This actually does have a sat-nav and it works. Just some sort of bits in the boot here. Just lift up the carpet. Of course we've got a full-size spare in there. Of course we do. It's very deep. Volume of the boot must be about 400 litres or so. Certainly very useful for going away and just hiding whatever you need to hide in here. We just again admire the side profile of the car and just the beautiful lines that this has. I really do like this colour. I also like the colour of the interior. Mr. Coleman's not too keen on it, but you know, when you've got something like a sort of effectively a beige leather interior, you can't really complain. On my channel anyway, you can't complain about that sort of thing. So if we get in, it's quite comfortable actually in the back of it. There's not as much room as there would be in something like a Vauxhall Omega, which Mr. Coleman also used to have an Omega, and there is a review of that on Tweed Jacket Reviews too. But we've got rear vents in here because we are in a luxury car. We've got nice leather. The interior of the car will be being changed at some point. I think Mr. Coleman fancies a red leather interior in this, which I think some of you probably agree is better. Me, I prefer this colour because I like things like this. And there we go. A nice comfortable armrest, seat mat pockets, driver's centre armrest as well. Little ashtrays on either side. Actually, this one would be easy for you to see. Little ashtrays on either side. I'll just open that tiny little ashtray. So the Italian car, you're going to need things like that, and pockets in the back. It's not completely style over substance in one of these. There are some monikers practically. I've travelled from the back of one of these actually for quite some time, and it really is quite comfortable. You can see the very nice sculpting on the dash there from here. It actually looks, it's really good from this sort of angle. Yes, let's take a look at the front, because that's where in an Alfa you probably want to spend most of your time. This being the Lusso, there are things like electric heated seats, climate control, and sat-nav. We've also got a tape player in here, because why not? Here is the facelifted steering wheel I was talking about when we were driving, and the controls on the door for the electric windows and electric mirrors are actually different on the facelifted cars. Apart from that, the dashboard's identical. The compartment on the top of the dash is notorious on these for not actually popping up when you want it to. The sat-nav does work on this, although it takes a bit of persuasion for some reason. That's probably because I don't know how to operate it properly. So we'll just key in. There we go. Let's just see if the central display does come on. There we are, the integrated control system. I'll make sure we haven't got anything playing from the CD player at the moment, so we don't get any copyright infringement. But if I put play navigation, I think it's that button there. There we go, initializing navigation system. So if you want to see a 2004 sat-nav system, viewers, then, well, you know, we can, if that's the sort of thing you want. There are the controls for the fuel filler flap, stability control, and that one is a door locking button there. Also got another ashtray down here. It's covered all over in this sort of rubberized texture stuff that sort of comes up, but for some reason manufacturers in the mid-2000s were very fond of. Not quite sure why. So there we have the door pockets, along with the leather. Now you could get Momo leather in Alphas of this era, and in fact Mr. Richardson, Furious Driving, has a Momo leather interior in his 145 Cloverleaf, which of course shares an engine with this car. So if we go in here, my replacement secret mission documents might go in. No, they don't. It's a shame. I can't remember if the others went in or not. Yes, let's not crumple up too much of Mr. Coleman's paperwork. That's a bit of a shame. Not quite perfect spy car like the Alfa 90, which has that briefcase, which you're going to need for your secret missions. I do like these little white dials, and I like the seating position of the car. These post-facelift cars don't have a steering wheel adjustment. The pre-facelift ones do, with the different steering wheel, which is, you know, just the way that goes. But there we are. Right, I know what all of you are here to see, and that is the Twin Spark engine. So we shall have a look at that now. So viewers, we have a quite different engine from last time. This is the Alfa Romeo 2-litre twin spark engine. It's a 4-cylinder unit, but of course it has 2 spark plugs per cylinder. This is a rebuild engine, and this is why I wasn't exceeding 3,500 RPM on the test drive. It's perfect in here. The car did have a problem when Mr. Coleman first got it, when, yes, it spectacularly broke down on the motorway. So fully rebuilt engine, everything's spotless, even has an £85 genuine engine oil cap on it now. Wow, it's really quite something. These engines are known for all starvation issues. You've got to change the cam belt frequently on them. The Busso engines are even worse in terms of having to change the cam belt as frequently as you can. Fuel economy on any of the petrol engines of them is not the best, but if you own a car like this, yeah, I don't think you really care about most of the things I'm talking about. You just care about how the car sounds and how it looks. And it sounds marvellous and looks glorious. That's really all I can say. Right, let's go for another drive. So Mr. Coleman's very kindly threw the camera underneath the car for you to see that it's 100% rust free. The whole chassis has been treated, rust proofed. It's concours underneath, there's really nothing to worry about. Sometimes in extreme cases the rear suspension of the 166 can go a bit funny, but there's no way that's going to happen in this. It's one of the best 166s probably of the post-facelift type in this country, and holding on to it for quite a long time to come. I'm sure you appreciate his efforts. I know I do. Remiss of me not to tell you how this car feels to drive, and the answer is totally glorious. This facelifted steering wheel has some controls on it for the radio and things, but the basic feel of the car has not really changed at all. The steering is really accurate, one of the best front wheel drive cars I've ever driven for steering. The ride is a little bit on the firm side. It's not as firm as Mr. Coleman's other Alfa, which had modified suspension, but nevertheless it has a good firmness to it. because the car's got a brand new engine, I'm not exceeding 3,500 RPM, much as the car wants me to, and I can feel it willing me to. It's a car which I once said that if the second coming happened and I had one car that I wanted to drive until that time, it'd be one of these. And to be honest, my opinion about that hasn't really changed. I really like this. It might have less power than the other car, but my gosh, it doesn't feel like that much less that I can exploit. And I know when we're running in period, so I'm not going too crazy, but wow, what a car. Yeah, no, not exceeding the limit Mr. Cobham's told me, but I am having an absolute blast, and you would be too if you were driving one of these. So viewers, should you consider an Alfa 166 as a sensible second-hand classic, especially this 2-litre twin spark facelifted version? Well, they really require, I think, specialist owners to look after these. Mr. Coleman will tell you on the Road Mechanic channel an awful lot about that. To get one to this sort of condition as well isn't easy, and they are very idiosyncratic and sometimes very difficult to work on. The air filter, for example, can take up to 4 hours to change on one of these cars, and on a Lusso engine one, that is even worse. But this was always one of my favourite cars from the channel, even from the earlier days. Less than a year after we started, I drove the previous 166 Mr. Coleman had for the first time, and I adored the car. And it was a shame when it had to be sort of effectively swapped for this one. But I have enjoyed this. It's not as easy to drive because this is a manual rather than auto, but it's very punchy, and I like this interior. And you know, Mr. Coleman has an exceptional car, and I do hope that you look at some more Alfa videos on his channel. Anyway, thank you for watching this episode of Sensible Secondhand Classics. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more of the same. Please don't forget to like this video, leave a comment below, turn notifications on. If you are subscribed, it really does help out. And thank you ever so much indeed once again for watching.